Good morning. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. It's Friday, January 5th, 2024. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
Shots ring out at an Iowa high school.
When will enough be enough?
I'm Linda Kenyon in Washington.
America's top diplomat is heading back to the Middle East. Sagar Meghani at the White House.
A secret rescue operation took place in Gaza to remove the mother and American uncle of a U.S. serviceman. I'm Jackie Quinn.
A father and son have been arrested in the deaths of a young Texas couple about to have a baby. I'm Donna Warder.
Shocking video out of a Nevada courtroom. I'm Clayton Neville.
On Wall Street, the NASDAQ is on its longest losing streak since October of 22. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
Crib camera recordings are providing clues to a potential cause behind some sudden unexplained deaths. I'm Jennifer King.
All ahead on America in the Morning. A teenager opens fire in a high school, killing a classmate and wounding others. Correspondent Linda Kenyon has this follow-up on the Iowa school shooting. Police audio courtesy Broadcastify.
Attention all units R1 call 11, all units Dallas County. We've got an active fierce activation at Perry High School.
That's how the day began at Perry High School in Perry, Iowa, on the first day back to school after the winter break.
Subject that's down is deceased.
Copy. Subject down, deceased.
The deceased was identified by Mitch Mordfed, Assistant Director of the Division of Criminal Investigations.
The shooter has been identified as 17-year-old Dylan Butler, a student at Perry High School. Butler was armed with a pump-action shotgun and a small-caliber handgun.
Police say Butler killed one student, a sixth grader, and injured four others, including a school administrator, before killing himself. His classmates were shocked and yet not entirely surprised all at once.
And those kids would do horrible things to him. There were times at the bus stop where they just pick on him all the time.
His parents went to the school and talked to the school, and they did absolutely nothing. They did nothing.
And then it started getting bad when they started picking on his sister, his baby sister.
He was a good person. He was hurting. He got tired. He got tired of the bullying. He got tired of the harassment. Was it a smart idea to shoot up the school? No. God, no.
Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds said the reasons will all be sorted out, but one thing is clear.
Our hearts are heavy today, and our prayers are with the Perry community. This strikes at the heart of everything that we hold dear. This senseless tragedy has shaken our entire state to the core.
While White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre lamented,
It's only the fourth day in the year, in the new year, and we are already faced with yet another horrific school shooting. And the question that we ask is, when will enough be enough? The questions that families ask and the victims of families ask is, when will it be enough? When will enough be enough?
Linda Kenyon, Washington.
America's top diplomat is headed back to the Middle East amid fears the Israel-Hamas war could spiral into a bigger regional conflict. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
Immediately after the war began, the Biden administration was relieved about what seemed to be the low potential for a broader Mideast battle. Since then, there have been attacks and assassinations in the Red Sea, Lebanon, Iran, Iraq. So Secretary of State Antony Blinken leaves this weekend for a fourth Mideast visit since the war began 2.5 months ago, with stops from Israel, the West Bank, Turkey, and other nations.
We don't expect every conversation on this trip to be easy.
Spokesman Matthew Miller says the region's facing both tough issues and choices as the U.S. seeks to avoid a bigger war. Sagar Meghani at the White House.
The U.S. now says a secret rescue operation took place in Gaza earlier this week, with America involved, to remove the mother and the American uncle of a U.S. serviceman held by terrorists in the enclave. Correspondent Jackie Quinn reports.
They're safe now, extracted after months of devastating ground fighting and airstrikes. A U.S. official on condition of anonymity tells the Associated Press the rescue was part of an effort that involved Israel, Egypt, and others, coordinating with the U.S. Family members say 44-year-old Zara Skak and her brother-in-law, Farid Zukaik, had been pinned down in a building in Gaza with little food or water, surrounded by combatants. But Skak's husband is not with her. He was shot earlier in the war and died of his injuries. The State Department estimates some 300 Americans, including relatives, remain in Gaza. I'm Jackie Quinn.
Judge attacked during a man's sentencing. That When America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back here with America in the Morning. AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Benz has the forecast, including rain and snow.
AccuWeather continues to track a storm churning across the central U.S. This will be our next storm. Of course, that will impact the eastern U.S. heading into this weekend. But first, it's moving across the southern plains, bringing mainly rain and thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast here for this morning. That can bring the threat for potting on streets and highways from places like Houston on east towards New Orleans through the midday. Otherwise, the farther north you go, the colder it gets, and the colder it gets, better chance for snow you'll see, especially out of the gates this morning. Places like Kansas will start off with snow at times this morning. Watch out for slippery travel. But as the day progresses, areas across eastern Kansas through western Missouri will begin to see a rain-snow mix before things wrap up heading into the midday and afternoon. This storm will continue to the east through this weekend, bringing the threat for perhaps the largest snowfall of the season for many areas across the Northeast and perhaps the Mid-Atlantic, though that is not saying much since much of the region has not seen much snow so far for this winter season. Other areas of the country looking dry across Florida for today, as well as much of the eastern U.S., the column before the approaching storm. Another piece of energy crossing the northern plains will touch off some snow showers across the Dakotas through Minnesota, even back through Montana. Drying out across the west coast, especially across California and Oregon, though there can be a lingering shower across coastal Washington with better chance for rain as we head through tonight and tomorrow. And that's the weather across America. In Houston, look for periods of rain and thunderstorms to start the day. There can be potting on streets and highways, though, improving conditions expected through this afternoon with a high of 62 degrees. In Chicago, turning out mostly cloudy with a high 39. Some light snow returns to the area for tonight. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Benz.
I'm John Trout. Remember to follow us everywhere you get your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. A father and son have been arrested in the deaths of a young Texas couple about to have a baby. Correspondent Donna Warder has details.
The arrests of 19-year-old Christopher Preciado and his 53-year-old father Ramon come more than a week after the bodies of a pregnant 18-year-old Savannah Soto and her 22-year-old boyfriend Matthew Guerra were found shot in a vehicle.
The father answered the door. He knew why the police were there.
San Antonio Police Sergeant Washington Moscoso says Christopher is accused of killing the couple, and his father is accused of helping him move the bodies.
It appears to be a narcotic-related deal that went bad.
Police say they were able to track down the father and son using information on Savannah Soto's cell phone.
Cooperated fully with the investigation, and our detectives were able to start interviewing both the son and the father.
Christopher Preciado is charged with capital murder. Ramon Preciado is charged with abuse of a corpse. I'm Donna Warder.
The charges are piling up against a Nevada man who violently attacked a judge during his sentencing. Correspondent Clayton Neville has the latest on the story.
The video from the Clark County, Nevada courtroom is shocking. Attorneys for Deobra Redden were asking for probation in the felony battery case against their client.
We've had 2 goes at mental health court, Mr. Almasi.
He did, and he does have 2 honorable discharge from probation. So he can do probation. He can be successful.
The judge's response:
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he get a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada.
And in an instant, Redden ran toward the judge and leaped over the bench, ripping her to the ground and relentlessly attacking as bailiffs and others in the courtroom tried to pull him away. District Court Judge Mary Kate Holthus was hurt but didn't go to the hospital and is expected to be all right. Redden facing a slew of new charges, including battery on a protected person, that of course being the judge and other courtroom officials. I'm Clayton Neville.
Raking in the profits, Eli Lilly's weight loss drug. When America in the Morning returns after these messages. Back with you this Friday on America in the Morning. As streaming companies have been raising prices, cracking down on password sharing, and introducing ads, a bigger share of customers are canceling subscriptions. The volume of people in the U.S. nixing plans to major streaming services such as Apple TV Plus, Discovery Plus, Disney Plus, Hulu, Max, Netflix, Paramount Plus, Peacocks, and Starz rose to 6.3% in November, according to the subscription analytics provider Antenna. The report says consumers seem to be shifting alliances, some depending on content, but the large majority to save money. And with more in Money Matters, CNBC's Jessica Ettinger has Friday Business.
Wall Street opens this morning after a mixed day for the markets yesterday. Bond yields ticked higher. The Nasdaq had its fifth down day in a row, its longest losing streak since October of 2022. Walgreens shares plunged after the company cut its dividend in half. A December rebound in hiring, much of it in hospitality, as private payrolls added 164,000 jobs last month, according to ADP. That was more than expected. The Labor Department's December jobs report will be out this morning. ADP says employers really aren't raising pay to fill jobs anymore.
Pay deceleration is the story of 2023. We actually did see that deceleration through 2023, and that means any specter of a wage price spiral that pushes up inflation has all but disappeared.
ADP economist Neela Richardson on CNBC. Yeti shares plunged 12% this week so far amid the water bottle wars. It has hot competition. Gen Z loves Stanley Cups.
In the current context of the consumer environment, you have auto loans and new car loans at all-time highs. You have, credit card debt at all-time highs. It's just a tougher environment to compete in. Yeah. And this is the biggest competitive onslaught Yeti's ever seen, in our view.
Canaccord Genuity's Brian McNamara on CNBC. The limited edition Valentine's Day Starbucks Stanley Cups. They were in red and pink at Target. They are sold out. People say they've seen them on eBay for $200.
Pharmaceutical weight loss drug now offered online.
Eli Lilly shares hit a record high yesterday after it said it's going to sell its own weight loss drugs direct to consumers with a doctor's prescription on Lilly Direct. That's where it'll sell Zepbound and its other drug Mounjaro. Weight Watchers and Ro already sell weight loss drugs online, but Lilly is the first drug maker to do this. The Lilly drugs compete with Novo Nordisk's Ozempic and Wegovy.
Lilly's drug for obesity, Zepbound, just got approved recently. So that access is going to open up. The supply and access to all of this certainly is also opening up. Here, Lilly obviously wants to get access through out-of-pocket, people who also want to play out-of-pocket.
Jeffrey's Michael Yee on CNBC. On today's watch list, it is a Jobs Friday. The December employment report comes from the Labor Department this morning. The forecast is for the unemployment report. The forecast is for the unemployment rate to tick up from 3.7 to 3.8%. Earnings are coming from Constellation Brands, and new movies in theaters include Catch-Up Entertainment's drama Memory and Universal's horror film Night Swim. Universal is a sister company to CNBC.
When we return on America in the Morning, crib cams explain SIDS and cause of fire revealed at pro athlete's home. After these messages. Welcome back. Here with America in the Morning. Crib camera recordings are providing clues to a potential cause behind some sudden unexplained deaths. Correspondent Jennifer King reports.
Hayden Fell had several fever-induced seizures, but always bounced back until the night the 17-month-old passed away in his crib. His father, Justin Fell.
It was every parent's nightmare.
Researchers at NYU's Langone Health analyzed 7 videos of toddlers that died and spotted in 5 cases small movements deemed seizures that are suspected to have played a role in what's called sudden unexplained death in childhood, or SUDC.
SIDS is extraordinarily well known. SUDC, or sudden unexplained death in childhood, which is the continuation just after age 1, is rarely discussed and little known.
Dr. Oren Davinsky is the lead author of the small study, now published in the journal Neurology.
You're a detective trying to solve a crime. And now you've got a video of the perpetrator, potentially.
Videos of Hayden's last night and his brain have been donated to science. His mother, Katie, hopes the video evidence helps finally lead to answers. I'm Jennifer King.
A Florida man was charged with allegedly threatening a member of Congress, saying he was going to come and kill the congressman's children. 72-year-old Michael Shapiro allegedly phoned the congressional office of California's Eric Swalwell 5 times on December 19th, and in one instance called Swalwell the N-word, even though he's white. It's also not the first time. Shapiro allegedly left threatening messages to representatives 3 times before, and he pleaded guilty in 2019 to making threats to members of Congress. In a follow-up to a story we brought you yesterday, officials have now determined the cause of a fire at the home of a star NFL wide receiver on Wednesday. Looking into that, correspondent Gethin Coolbaugh.
Fire officials say a child playing with a cigarette lighter started a fire at the $6.9 million home owned by Miami Dolphins star receiver Tyreek Hill. Davie Fire Marshal Robert Taylor tells the Associated Press that the fire was accidental and no one was injured. He did not provide the age of the child or the amount of damage caused by the fire. Hill was at Dolphins practice when the fire broke out. He left practice when he got word about the blaze. Miami television station WSVN showed a large amount of black smoke coming from the roof. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
America in the Morning for Friday, January 5th, 2024 is produced by Jeff McKay. Senior producer Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout on the Westwood One Radio Network. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
The latest school shooting happened in Perry, Iowa, near Des Moines. I'm Ed Donahue.
A new report by House Democrats finds Donald Trump accepted millions of dollars from Chinese nationals while serving as president. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
You may want to get your boots ready if you live on the East Coast. I'm Rita Foley.
The U.S. says North Korea has again provided Russia more advanced weaponry for the war in Ukraine. Sagar Meghani at the White House.
A terminally ill Connecticut woman has ended her life on her own terms in Vermont. I'm Norman Hall.
The Golden Globe Awards are set for Sunday outside Los Angeles. I'm Margie Zaraletta with a preview.
Back after these messages. America in the Morning continues. AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Benz has forecasting duties this morning. And with a check of the nation's weather, Matt?
All eyes are on a gathering storm across the central U.S. that will continue to move east through today, eventually reaching the East Coast as we progress through tomorrow and Sunday. This storm certainly has the potential to bring the most snowfall of the season for a good chunk of the eastern and northeastern U.S. for this winter season, though that does not say much for the season, as we have not seen much snow so far east of the Appalachians for much of the season. This storm today, though, will churn across the southern plains, bringing mainly rain and the threat for thunderstorms across Texas through Louisiana and Mississippi. Some of those storms due this morning can bring drenching rainfall to southeastern Texas, including Houston, before that shifts eastward towards New Orleans by the midday and afternoon. To the north, where it is colder, snow will be falling through this morning across portions of Kansas and the Oklahoma Panhandle. This will eventually give way to a rain-snow mix here by this afternoon across eastern Kansas, and just a mix of rain and snow across Missouri, at least western Missouri, here through the early afternoon. Another wave moving across northern U.S. will bring some light snow showers across northern plains to portions of the upper Midwest, including some snow showers across Minnesota as well as Dakotas and into Montana. Much of the western U.S. just dry, including California and much of Oregon, though some lingering showers will persist, especially in western Washington, where another storm will set its sights across this region later tonight and into tomorrow. And it's a calm before the storm across the eastern U.S. Colder for today, blustery with some sunshine returning for most areas across the northeast and mid-Atlantic. Dry conditions will persist as well across much of the Florida Peninsula, where it will continue to be on the comfortable side with temperatures seasonable for this time of the year. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Matt Benz.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning. I'm John Trout. School shooting in Perry, Iowa, near Des Moines, as students were returning to class after the holiday break. Ed Donahue reports the shooter, who attended the high school, took the life of a classmate and shot others, turning the gun on himself. Police audio courtesy of Broadcastify.
The call came in just before the start of school.
Attention all units. All units R1 call 11. All units Dallas County. We've got an active Sears activation at Perry High School. Active Sears activation at Perry High School. It's going to be in reference to a possible gunshots at Perry High School.
A sixth grader was shot and killed.
We've got reports of multiple subjects injured at this time, one down with a possible gunshot wound.
Dallas County 701 in United States.
Now, the subject that's down is deceased.
Copy. Subject down, deceased.
Mitch Mortvedt with the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation identified the gunman as a 17-year-old student, Dylan Butler.
Butler was armed with a pump-action shotgun and a small caliber handgun. Butler also made a number of social media posts in and around the time of the shooting.
He later died of what investigators believe was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Friends like Yesenia Roeder Hall describe Butler as a good person.
And those kids would do horrible things to him. There were times at the bus stop where they just pick on him all the time.
His parents went to the school and talked to the school, and they did absolutely nothing. They did nothing.
And then it started getting bad when they started picking on his sister, his baby sister.
He was a good person. He was hurting. He got tired. He got tired of the bullying. He got tired of the harassment. Was it a smart idea to shoot up the school? No. God, no.
Among those shot was the principal of Perry High School. I'm Ed Donahue.
The United States announced it is sending back Secretary of State Antony Blinken to the Middle East and also called for urgent UN action on attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels on ships in the Red Sea, with an added warning to Iran, who they say is funding them. As correspondent Karen Shamas reports, this comes as there's increased concern that the Israel-Hamas war could escalate following an alleged Israeli strike that killed a senior Hamas leader in Lebanon.
U.S. Deputy Ambassador Christopher Liu told an Emergency Security Council meeting that the Houthis have carried out more than 20 attacks since November the 19th.
It is vital that the Council speak, and speak now.
Liu also told the UN Security Council that Iran is funding the Houthi rebels, adding,
"We also know that Iran has been deeply involved in planning operations against commercial vessels in the Red Sea."
Earlier in the day, a spokesman for the Houthi rebels, Yahya Sari, warned the US or any other party against taking any measure to secure commercial ships going to Israel. The Yemeni armed forces confirmed that any American aggression will not go unanswered or unpunished. A US draft resolution circulated to council members to condemn attacks and recognize the right of any country to defend their vessels in accordance with international law.
Al-Hurri was a noted designated global terrorist. And if he is in fact dead, nobody should be shedding a tear over his loss.
Speaking at the funeral of a former Mossad head in central Israel, Israeli intelligence agency chief David Barnea said, "Every Arab mother should know that if her son participated directly or indirectly in the massacre of October the 7th, he will bear responsibility." The comments come a day after Saleh Harouri, the deputy head of the Palestinian militant group, was killed in a suspected Israeli strike in Beirut. In a speech Wednesday evening, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah promised revenge, saying Harouri's killing will not go without response and punishment, but he left the audience guessing as to when and in what form. I'm Karen Shamas.
A new report released by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee finds China and groups backed by the Chinese government spent millions of dollars at Trump properties while he was in office. John Stolnis has details from Washington.
The report shows Donald Trump's businesses received at least $7.8 million from 20 foreign governments while he was in office. Just over $5.5 million of that from China alone. Documents released by lawmakers found Chinese officials stayed at 3 Trump properties while he was in the White House. One of the Democrats on the committee, Jasmine Crockett, says Trump violated the Constitution's Foreign Emoluments Clause.
We have never accepted this from anybody else, and the only reason we're facing a crisis right now is because he wants to act as if the Constitution doesn't apply to him.
The information comes from documents obtained from Trump's former accountants. Democrat Robert Garcia, who also serves on the committee, says this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to foreign influence in the Trump White House.
Hundreds of properties and allied businesses all around the world. And so we are getting just a small slice of an enormous corruption grift that we've got to uncover, and Comer's blocking every step of the way.
Back in December, Trump joked with Fox News' Sean Hannity that the American people would go crazy if it came out he took money from China.
The Biden family, and they're making millions from Burisma. Now, think of this.
From China, too? Could you imagine me doing that, or my sons doing that? Or,
no.
Or the great Ivanka Trump doing that?
Trump's son Eric released a statement saying all the money that came from foreign governments at their hotels was paid back to the Treasury Department. Saudi Arabia spent more than $615,000 in 2 hotels while Trump was in office. Democrats on the committee calling hypocrisy on House Republicans who are pursuing impeachment charges against President Biden for similar alleged acts that have yet to be proven. Meanwhile, a group of voters in Illinois have filed a suit to keep Trump off the primary ballot for his role in the January 6th attacks. Ron Fine, legal director of the group that filed the challenge, explains why they're filing now, with Maine and Colorado already likely to have their efforts to keep Trump off the ballot heard by the Supreme Court first.
Deadlines for these challenges under state law arise, and this is the time to file a challenge in Illinois, and we will file additional challenges in additional states.
Trump is also asking the Supreme Court to overturn the Colorado ballot ban. His attorney, Alina Habba, says they believe the Trump-appointed justices will come through for them.
People like Kavanaugh, who the president fought for, who the president went through, helped to get into place. He'll step up. Those people will step up.
Trump is in Iowa today for 2 events, an afternoon rally in Sioux Center and later tonight in Mason City, as the Iowa caucus draws closer now under 2 weeks away. John Stolnis, Washington.
North Korean weapons aid Russia's fight with Ukraine, and boots on the ground. Snow on the way for the East Coast. Those stories plus morning sports and your tech report after these messages. Welcome back. This is America in the Morning. Some will experience flooding rain, others some heavy snow. A good dose of winter headed toward the East Coast. Correspondent Rita Foley reports.
A winter storm system traveling across the nation is expected to dump snow and freezing rain on parts of the East Coast this weekend.
We do know that an area of low pressure is forecast to develop near the Gulf Coast late Friday, and from there it's expected to track northeast to the Delmarva Coast by early Saturday. Then it's expected to intensify and move further to the north, reaching New England before ejecting out into the Atlantic Ocean by Monday morning.
So who's going to get what? We asked the National Weather Service's Frank Pereira.
There is some uncertainty with regards to the track, especially as it moves further to the north, which could have significant impacts on the amount and the location of the snowfall that is expected to occur across portions of the northern mid-Atlantic and northeast.
Forecasters say before it's all over, this storm will have moved through Colorado and New Mexico and into Texas and the southeast before moving up the East Coast, getting stronger before reaching New England, and then moving out into the Atlantic by Monday morning. I'm Rita Foley.
There's concern in the Biden administration as the U.S. says North Korea has again provided Russia advanced weaponry for the war in Ukraine. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says intelligence officials believe Kim Jong-un supplied Vladimir Putin with ballistic missiles, and Russian forces fired some into Ukraine.
Our information indicates that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea recently provided Russia with ballistic missile launchers and several ballistic missiles. On the 30th of December, 2023, Russian forces launched at least one of these North Korean ballistic missiles into Ukraine. These North Korean ballistic missiles are capable of ranges of approximately 900 kilometers. That's about 550 miles. This is a significant and concerning escalation in the DPRK's support for Russia.
At the same time, Kirby says Russia still tried to get close-range ballistic missiles from Iran.
At this time, we do not believe that Iran has delivered close-range ballistic missiles to Russia. However, the United States is concerned that Russian negotiations to acquire close-range ballistic missiles from Iran are actively advancing.
And partnerships like that must spur Congress to approve more aid for Ukraine.
Russia is relying upon its friends to replenish its military stockpiles and enable its war against Ukraine. Iran and the DPRK are standing with Russia. Ukrainians deserve to know that the American people and this government will continue to stand with them.
Sagar Meghani at the White House.
A terminally ill Connecticut woman has ended her life on her own terms in Vermont. Correspondent Norman Hall reports.
Linda Bluestein pushed for expanded access to Vermont's law that allows people who are terminally ill to receive lethal medication to end their lives in Vermont. The group Compassion and Choices filed a suit on Bluestein's behalf, challenging Vermont's residency requirement for assisted suicide. The state agreed to settle, allowing Bluestein, a Connecticut resident, to die in Vermont. Paul Bluestein called Linda's passing comfortable and peaceful, just like she wanted. Bluestein, who had terminal cancer, ended her life by taking prescribed medication. She expressed her happiness at ending her suffering. I'm Norman Hall.
AI can be rather daunting, but now with it making decisions in robots, how will we know it's safe? One major tech company has written new laws into their software. Here's Chuck Palm with that in today's Tech News.
Google has written a robot constitution in order to make sure new AI droids won't kill us all. This safety feature is applying guardrails inspired by the science fiction author Isaac Asimov's 3 Laws of Robotics. The DeepMind robotics team revealed 3 new advances that says it'll help robots make faster, better, and safer decisions in the wild. In other news from Google, if you use Google Maps while driving, you're about to get a big upgrade. Google Maps has had the 3D building feature for quite a while, but not while driving in real time. According to the website 9 to 5 Google, 3D buildings during navigation for some users is a big boon for finding your way around the cities. It provides an additional visual marker to help you spot your next turn. And apparently this feature's already rolled out to some people. Check to see if you have 3D layers turned on in your Maps Details section. And once you enter navigation mode, you should start seeing buildings appear when you're zoomed in. Tell us what you think at allthetoptech.tech. I'm Chuck Palm.
With a check of Friday sports, here's America in the Morning's Robert Workman.
NBA last night, the Bucks fought off the Spurs 125-121. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 44 points and 14 rebounds. Victor Wembanyama scored 27 on his 20th birthday. Nikola Jokic hit a 40-footer at the buzzer, and the Nuggets rocked the Warriors 130-127. College hoops, number 10 Arizona rolled over Colorado. 19th-ranked James Madison topped Louisiana. The 14-0 Dukes, one of just 3 remaining unbeatens, along with 3rd-ranked Houston and number 22 Mississippi. All 3 of them play on Saturday. NHL, Connor Bedard became the youngest player ever named to an All-Star game. The Blackhawks rookie is a couple of weeks shy of being 18 and a half years old. Bedard, the overall number 1 pick last summer, leads all rookies with 15 goals and 18 assists. The first 32 All-Stars were announced yesterday, 1 from each team chosen by the league. The fans will vote in the rest of the players. All-Star weekend is next month in Toronto. Last night, the Blackhawks lost to the league-leading Rangers. Avalanche shaded the Stars in overtime to stay on top in the West. Panthers beat the Golden Knights to sweep the season series, a small consolation for losing last year's Stanley Cup final to Vegas. NFL Week 18 begins with 2 games on Saturday, the Steelers at the Ravens, who added former Jets running back Dalvin Cook to their practice squad. Then the Texans are at the Colts. The winner is assured of a playoff berth and could win the AFC South if the Jaguars lose on Sunday. Jacksonville, Buffalo, Tampa Bay, and Green Bay each make the playoffs with a win. That's Friday Sports.
Thanks, Robert. And athletes beware. That's a haunted swimming pool when America in the Morning returns after these messages. You're with America in the Morning. The Golden Globe Awards are set for Sunday outside Los Angeles. Entertainment correspondent Margie Zaraletta has a preview.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. Barbie leads the nominations in the movie categories for the Golden Globes with 9, while Succession leads in the TV categories, also with 9. Comedian Joe Coy will host.
Every single thing that's been nominated, I'm trying to watch, so I rewatched Beef again, you know what I mean? Just to make sure I was ready. And, from Oppenheimer to Killer of the Flower Moon, everything. It's been nonstop. So, and I still, after this, I got to go back and watch more.
He says he blew off his family over the holidays so he could focus on writing jokes.
And I'm like, all right, you guys can get away now. Get away. I can't deal with drama right now. I can't party with you. I couldn't do anything.
The Golden Globes returned as a full broadcast last year after recovering from years of scandals. The awards will be shown live on CBS on Sunday. I'm Margie Zaraletta.
The big new release this weekend is a movie about a haunted swimming pool. Kevin Carr has a sneak peek at Night Swim.
We've had haunted houses, haunted mansions, and haunted boats, spaceships, and pizza parlors. So why not a haunted swimming pool?
When we were fixing up the pool, they said it hadn't been used in 15 years. Maybe they weren't pool people.
Night Swim is the latest PG-13 horror movie kicking off the new year into the January doldrums. This film tells the story of a family that moves into a house with a backyard pool. While the father is benefiting from physical therapy in it, there is something sinister lurking beneath the surface.
My kids have seen things, and I'm worried something is happening to my husband.
While I don't have a problem with the somewhat absurd premise, because you can have a lot of fun with a horror movie that really swings for the fences, the script is filled with lazy writing, logic gaps, and poorly constructed characters.
There has to be some way to stop this.
Plus, the underlit and at times completely unlit cinematography leaves scenes murky, especially during the eponymous night swimming. With such low contrast, it was impossible to see what was actually happening. This is trendy now in filmmaking, and for dark horror movies sometimes shown in theaters that have failing projection bulbs, it's like playing Marco Polo alone. Marco! This film could have been a fun pool party, but instead it sinks down the drain. Night Swim gets 1 used locker room towel out of 5. I'm Kevin Carr, and that's the way I see it.
America in the Morning for Friday, January 5th, 2024 is produced by Jeff McKay. Senior producer Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.